No, no, no. You say should have lost 2 degrees, but that's not, losing is not. Right.
It looks like my favorite character.
3.
Yeah. You saw it? So they're good? It looks pretty good. Steve read the books. Yeah.
Got volume?
I might have to read the book. It was.
This meeting of the Blenheim Township Board of Trustees on February 26, 2025 is called to order at 6:30 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to this meeting. Roll call, please.
Heigl, present. Shidaberry,
Present.
Giamacco.
Present.
And Pat, would you take a public comment?
Sure. There is no request for public comment this evening, so we can move past that on the agenda. Next up, though, if you want me to go to the next item, since I'm kind of part of that. We have a fairly brief presentation tonight. We have a presentation tonight by the Parks Committee. The Parks Committee's been meeting 6 months? June, so a little more than that. And they've, over time, come up with some suggestions that they'd like to present to the board. So one of the representatives come up and present. The board has had that for 2 days. We've had a chance to review quite a bit of it, so if you just hit the highlights of it. Then what we'll do is the board will then individually make their notes, make their comments, make their concerns, and so forth, get it to me, and then we can all get together and talk about it after that, okay? So I would go ahead and introduce the Parks Committee, Parks Advisory Committee for their presentation.
Hey everybody, thanks for letting me be here tonight to speak on behalf of the Parks Committee, comprised of myself, April Zobel, we've got Carrie Combaugh, Leah Adkins. Pretty much everybody else is missing tonight, but there's around 11 of us, I think, that are on the committee. Also Tony Baker, Gwyneth Alack, Emily Garrett, Susan Matthews, Sherry Chapin, Cheryl Wooten, Mark McNally, and Aaron Monaco. Before I begin to actually do the presentation of the master plan, I would like to read you our purpose statement that I don't think I had Pat forward on to you guys. The Blenheim Township Parks and Advisory Committee exists to further park and recreation initiatives for the betterment of the community and represents all township parks, including Ridgewood Park, Phelps Acre Park, Sunbury Woods, Commons, the Pocket Park located at Harbin Drive and Buenos Aires Boulevard, and all other green spaces owned by Blenheim Township. The resident volunteers of which it is comprised agree to advocate for the conservation, protection, enhancement, and wise use of the township's natural resources. The committee seeks to foster the development and application of science-based resource policies and practices, and to promote through education and example an ethic that recognizes the interdependence of people and the environment. It will seek community involvement opportunities that assist in these endeavors, with the main role being to provide valuable input and play an important role in making recommendations to the trustees for approval and financial support of projects that are inclusive to all. We believe that in this first draft of our master plan, we followed those objectives and hope that you agreed and give approval, and in some cases, financial support, so that we can meet those goals. As Pat said, you've already gotten a copy of the plan I'm about to present, so I'm just gonna kind of breeze through this a little bit. Feel free to stop me with any questions or ask Leah or Carrie anything you have. First thing is green spaces. Green spaces that are currently mowed or otherwise maintained by the township have been identified, and the committee seeks to transform as many of these areas as possible into wildflower and native plant gardens at no cost to the township. In addition to the beautification of our community and providing much needed habitat for pollinators, these plantings will also substantially decrease the financial and time costs currently associated with mowing them, and in some cases serve as a traffic calming device. I know Matt took Leah and myself and Emily around to a lot of these spaces one day, and you were excited about not having to mow some of them just because of not having to do the physical work, and then also saving the money for the township. Lots of stuff that can be done at Ridgewood Park. The entrance is overgrown. It needs to be removed and replaced with shorter native plants. The riparian buffer along the edges of the creek bed where we've taken out so much of the honeysuckle, that needs to be filled in with native plants and designated as a no-mow zone. Jane Juergens Memorial Garden, the area has not been maintained, unfortunately, and many of the current plants need to be removed, and they could be replaced by low-maintenance native plants. The soccer fields, what we'd love to see there is having a natural walking path that could be added around the fields and lined with native wildflowers. If funds allow, additional exercise equipment could be purchased, such as the things that are already at Ridgewood Park, much as you see at other parks where you have the walking path and you can stop and do the exercises along the way. Directly across from Ridgewood Park, right there across on Buenos Aires, is a guardrail area that is a potential area to plant some native flowers against the guardrail and beautify that area right now that is pretty much just overgrown with weeds as far as we can tell. Also, the hillside at Buenos Aires, we were told, I think, that sledding is not allowed there anymore. So since that is the case, it would be the perfect place to plant some native flowers and fill in the area. There's a lot in between Ridgewood Park and 5410 Buenos Aires Boulevard. So if you're traveling south on Buenos Aires and you're passing the park right there on the left, that lot is right now maintained by Glendon Township, and that's something that we could look into doing something with, possibly doing keystone trees, doing wildflowers again, doing fruit-bearing trees, something like that. We do believe that direct neighbors should be consulted before any work goes on right there, because even though they don't own the property, it's definitely going to affect them, anything that gets done right there. Let's see, the Buenos Aires Pocket Park. That is another area for native wildflowers or trees. Right now it's just filled in with grass, and I think there is some flowers and stuff up there. Creek Run Drive and Harbin Drive. This is the narrow space separating Huber Ridge from 161, right there where we have that wall. And right now I think you guys are just mowing that. This is someplace else that we thought we could do some trees, fruit-bearing trees, keystone trees, wildflowers, something like that for beautification. That's it as far as Ridgewood Park goes with all that. Now we're going to jump over there to Sunbury Woods Commons. We've got Thrasher Loop / Bitterroot Drive area. It's a triangular area that we could seed bomb the area with native flowers. Scissortail Loop / Service Road, same thing. We could seed bomb that triangular area with native wildflowers. And then a big one is that 270 and Route 3 area that has to get mowed. And I think this was the one you said during the summer, y'all are out there quite a bit having to mow that. That can actually be taken over by Franklin County. Joel Hunt, Program Administrator for the Highway Beautification and Pollinator Habitat Program, and you'll have a link to that on the first page of this plan. He's supposed to reach back out to me in April. We missed the deadline for last year about potentially partnering with Glendon Township to create habitat in the area. And the way I understand it, they would actually come in and take care of all of that for us. We just have to get in with that program. I think that is it on the green spaces, if there's no questions on that. We're going to go on to trash / recycle containers, and this part has pretty much been taken care of. Rumpke donated 5 recycling bins to the township to take care of needs we addressed at Ridgewood Park, Sunbury Woods Commons, and Phelps Acre Park. As of right now, there are no recycling bins there, and we definitely need to have those. I know anytime any of us go over there, there's water bottles everywhere. It's a mess. There's a lot of things that can be taken care of and reduce some of that. We've been doing the honeysuckle removal, and to this point, we have not requested any funds for that. It's just all volunteer driven, but we are requesting $100 to $500 to continue that, and that is because we need to become a member of the Friends of Alum Creek so that we can continue to benefit from their expertise and from their help. They put it out there online. They help to draw in volunteers, so we're not just getting volunteers from our own community. We actually saw at one of the events that Leah put together that people were coming from other neighborhoods and stuff, and that's what people were doing who were interested in removing this honeysuckle. They're traveling around to these different events that they host. So they help to get us volunteers there, and then they also supply a lot of tools for people to do. So it's very important to, you know, become a member with them, give them a little bit of love so they'll keep helping us out. Composting program. This is something that Emily helped to kick off. This was the Compost Exchange Pilot Program. It kicked off in Huber Ridge on October 1st. 6 residents participated, and 5 of those continued after the free portion ended. And while this seems like a small number, it's typical for a neighborhood our size, according to what they've told us. We are going to continue to educate the community about this extremely valuable service, and we've invited them to speak at the HRAA-sponsored plant swap in May. What we would like to also do to try and get more people involved in composting, because we think it might just be, you know, a cost prohibitive regardless of how much it is to work with the compost exchange. We'd like to put a compost bin at the community gardens. So we're requesting funds somewhere between $50 and $300 to have a compost bin put over there where anybody in the neighborhood or anybody in Blended Township could drop off compost over there, and then those people who have a garden could use it for their gardens. Tree lawns / road verge. This is another neglected green space all through Huber Ridge for sure, somewhat in Sunbury Woods, I'm assuming also in Cleveland Heights. And this is somewhere else that Leah has actually taken care of hers by planting native wildflowers. She did one of her neighbor yards. And not only is it beautiful, it helps our pollinators, it serves as traffic calming. And what we would like to do is get help from the township or from you guys to let the township know we will come out there and we will do this for neighbors. Tell us that we have access to your yard, we'll go out there, we'll dig it up, we'll plant some wildflowers, we'll get it going. Right now, we're not requesting any funds for that. We just want the help in letting the neighborhoods know that we will come and do that. If it takes off and all of a sudden we have 100 houses that want this, we're gonna come back and say, hey, we need a little bit of help. And that would be a wonderful thing if we could get that many people involved, where you're driving down the streets and instead of seeing trash blowing up from the roads and dumpsters and things like that, you're seeing wildflowers that are just growing everywhere. At Ridgewood Park, there are story signs that are all through the trail, all the way to the back. And they are a lovely addition to the park. I think it's the Westerville Library maybe who did those. I'm not sure off the top of my head. What we would love to do, if possible, is take ownership of the signs, and instead of having the story signs on there, have permanent signage on there that identifies the native flowers and the trees and the wildlife that are there. So those story signs are specific for Ridgewood Park, and it explains to people just what a gem that area is, what all that they are walking through, and does a little bit of education in that area. Playground equipment maintenance, no funds requested there. We all just agree that it would be nice to have a color scheme picked out, and we kind of keep with that color scheme so that all the park benches, all the playground equipment, everything like that is in that one color whenever it is updated, and stick with that for continuity. The shelter house. Right now, the shelter house rental fee is paid and goes to the township. We want those rental fees to be designated solely for use by the community for any of the projects that we are doing. We also propose that a deposit equal to twice the rental fee be charged to anybody renting the shelter house, and that the fee only be returned if the area has been left clean and free of debris. This will deter individuals from leaving trash, and any unreturned fees will also be designated for community use. Restrooms. Here's the big one. Funds $1,000 to $90,000, but there is a grant that can be applied for, and we even have someone on the committee who is a grant writer who has volunteered to help with this, and that grant could cover up to 80% of a restroom being installed there. I also sent the quotes over to Pat. I'm sure he got them to you. Got quotes from 2 different places, and a single dry vault restroom would cost $30,000 to $45,000. A double is between 82,000 and 90,000. What that would do is entice people to come to the park more and to stay at the park longer. And it would ensure that we are ADA accessible, which I know has been a thing in the past with the porta potties that are there. They're just not really ADA accessible. I don't care how many times we say that there are. If you're in a wheelchair, you're not going into one of those. So this would help with that. Township newsletter and email. Because we are volunteer-based and we need more volunteers to help with all of these projects we're talking about, we need your help to get the news out to the township. And we would like to be included in the township newsletter and or in the emails when we have something going on. Like when we have a honeysuckle removal project. Get us out there, tell everybody, you know, this is a township thing. We want everybody to come and help. We're going to do some plannings, help us out with doing that. As far as the newsletter goes, if there's no room in the actual newsletter itself, I know Pat has mentioned it's very space-driven. We can do a little half-sheet flyer that we shove in there, you know, with the funds that we're getting from the shelter house rental fees. We can print those up and put them in there. And then the Ridgewood Park Shelter House. We haven't really assessed the situation completely, but we've identified a problem there at the shelter house with the abundance of rocks surrounding the entrance to it from the parking lot. It's very hard for anybody with mobility issues to make it from the parking lot to that shelter house. You have to go through all of the rocks. Not only could we eliminate the rocks, we could plant native flowers and wildlife and so forth there and make a little path that makes it easier for people to access that shelter house. And I think that's all I got. Any questions? All right, thank you.
11 minutes and 40 seconds. Pretty well played.
How many, where was I at?
11:40, not bad. Thank
Well,
you.
I'd like to thank the committee for their work on this proposal. We, as Pat said, we've already had it for 2 days, and we will continue to each review and research the items and the proposals and give our input to Pat, and then, as he said, he will give the feedback to you, or to the committee. Okay, let's move on to trustee comments. Jan, do you have any?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay. Joanna?
Yep, I have a little bit. I also would like to thank the Parks Committee. That was very thorough. It's helpful. And just friendly reminder for any of you who are interested, if you feel the auditor's appraised value for your home is too high, you can file a complaint with the Franklin County Board of Revision, but time is running out. You only have through March 31st, 2025. The Board of Elections is accepting those complaints for tax year 2024. In Ohio, we pay our taxes a year in arrears. So you only have a month left if you're going to contest. Blendon Beautiful Initiative update. We've been scheduling the bi-weekly right-of-way cleanups with Josh Adams with Franklin County Municipal Court for the Cleveland Heights area, weather permitting. You know, we've had this snowing, raining, but when they're able to, they definitely get out there. And the right-of-way improvement grants. Adam and I have been working on trying to find ways to get money for the cleanup in Cleveland Heights. And I'm not sure how many people have driven through the area, but it definitely needs some cleanup. So Adam met with Ronnie Nimps from Franklin County Engineer's Office to discuss installing residential sidewalks, improving storm sewers, creating rear alleys for property access. These improvements would enhance neighborhood aesthetics and reduce runoff. The next step is to create a development proposal for grant applications. And the engineer's office is willing to assist our township in creating the proposal and assist us in finding a third-party consultant to create a proposal itself. But they do require a letter from the trustees requesting that assistance. So we need a development plan and cost estimate for the project before we can even apply for the grant. If it's okay with you two, I would like to have Adam prepare the letter for all of us to sign. I know we don't need a motion, but if you can just give me a nod, then I'll make sure Adam knows to get that started. Again, we're seeking grants for these improvements. There's no guarantee, but in my opinion, it's certainly worth trying. If we can get something done at no cost in an area that needs it, we should do it. Last, and I know you're probably tired of hearing it, but aqua water bills. If your water bills are over $50 a month, please continue to send me as many bills as possible along with a hardship letter. I still don't have enough of them to take the next step. I'm trying to fight this, but I need help. So if you or anybody you know has a water bill that exceeds $50, get me some hardship letters. And that's all I have.
Okay. I have a couple. Jeff Beard Concrete Construction, our township concrete vendor, is again offering resident rates for residential concrete work in the township. Remember that sidewalks are the property owner's responsibility. So if any township resident needs sidewalk or cement driveway work done, the resident rates are to remove and replace sidewalks, $11.50 per square foot with an 80 square foot minimum. To remove and replace driveways, $9 per square foot. And my other announcement is that some of you may have heard me announce at a previous Board of Trustees meeting that I applied for Glendon Township to be recognized as an America 250 community, and we were accepted and have been designated as an America 250 Ohio community. This commission, which is planning many celebrations for the 250th anniversary of our country's signing of the Declaration of Independence, which will be in July of 2026, is sponsoring many initiatives. One of them that our residents with school-age children may be interested in is the America's Field Trip Contest. Students in grades 3 through 12 across the country are invited to enter the contest, where students share their perspectives on what America means to them. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, April 16th of this year, 2025, at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Time. The prizes are field trip experiences to American landmarks or cultural sites such as the Smithsonian's National Zoo, National Archives Museum, Kennedy Space Center, Yellowstone National Park, just to name a few. So there's more information. I have the website if anybody would like more information on that. Again, the deadline for that, if you know of anybody who has school-age children who would like to apply, is April 16th. And that's all my announcements. So let's move on to the fiscal officer report. Ms. Bird?
Yes, has everybody have a chance to review the meeting minutes?
Yes. I will move to approve the trustee meeting minutes from February 12th.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
Michael?
Yes.
Shinneberry?
Yes.
Siamaco?
Yes.
And then have you all had a chance to review the purchase orders?
Yes. I will move to approve the purchase orders as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
Michael?
Yes.
Shinneberry?
Yes?
Siamaco?
Yes.
And have you had a chance to review the bills?
Yes. I will move to pay the bills as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
Michael?
Yes?
Shinneberry?
Yes.
Siamaco?
Yes.
And the December 2024 bank reconciliation?
Yes, we received that, and I will move to approve the December 2024 bank reconciliation as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, maybe?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Michael?
Yes?
Shinneberry?
Yes.
Siamaco?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Did you make a move?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Moving on to Administration and Human Resources, Mr. Meyer.
Sure, thank you. I have a couple things. First, in 2013, there's a resolution, 2013-19, that the township would take care of right-of-way permits for people working in the right-of-ways, and we don't want to do that. We don't have the expertise and time to do that and put up with some of the things that come along with that. So I want you to rescind the 2013-19 right-of-way permit resolution, which will revert it right back to the county. The county would take care of the right-of-way permits at no cost to us, and they would take care of monitoring that and any disputes and so forth. So that's what we'd like to do. Adam and I talked about it, and we think this is best for the township.
Okay. Well, I will move to approve to rescind Resolution 2013-19, the right-of-way permitting, which will send the process back to Franklin County.
Yeah, I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have some questions. So how many permits did we have, would you say, in 2024?
6 or 8 probably, but we have one that's in the process right now that we get a phone call about every day from both sides. We get a homeowner calling and yelling at us that the guy won't move his stuff. We get a guy calling us saying, you can't tell me to move my stuff because I have a right-of-way permit. And if I don't have to, I'm gonna sue you if you bring it up again and everything. So we talked to the county, they're like, send it back to us, and we'll take care of it for you going forward.
How much do we get paid for each one of those permits?
$50.
How long have we done them?
So 2013, apparently.
So just only from 2013. Franklin County had it prior to that?
I would assume that's why they passed a resolution to do it, to take it away from the
Do
county.
you remember, Jan?
It would have been 13.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
2013. So,
That's all I have.
Okay, call for the vote?
Heigl? Yes. Shineberry?
Yes.
Siamato?
Yes.
thank you. Next, I would like you to pass a resolution approving payment to BZA members and zoning commission members. It's very customary to do this. BZA members and zoning commission members are not just volunteers. They're looking at plans, they're making quasi-legal decisions on certain things. The commission comes back to you, but BZA makes legal decisions. So I am proposing that BZA members and zoning commission members are paid $50 per meeting attended, and whoever is in charge of being the secretary of that committee and keeping the minutes be paid $65 for that meeting. If a meeting's canceled, there's no payment. If a member doesn't sit for the meeting, there's no payment. It's only when there's a meeting and they sit. But I would suggest that we do this, and I would ask you to consider.
Okay, I will move to approve resolution 2025-08, compensating BZA and zoning commission members as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I think it's well worth it. It's a lot of work.
It is, and sometimes we don't even know how much work they do. If they take a plan home, and the meeting's not till next month, and they're to make a decision on that, they have to review an 80-page, 90-page development plan or what have you, so I think it's fair.
Okay, any other discussion? Call for the vote?
Heigl? Yes. Shineberry?
Yes.
Siamato?
Yes.
And Adam Sears brought this to me, so I'm bringing it to you folks. Joanne in the fiscal office needs to create an account to collect commercial building permit fees for Phantom Fireworks, which is located on Cleveland Avenue in Minerva Park. This business was approved by the Minerva Park Village Council. It is in Minerva Park. We do not do zoning for Minerva Park. We don't make decisions on whether the business can open or close. We just do commercial building permits for them. So once their zoning decides this business can open, our commercial builder works with the fire department, everybody else to make sure everything's up to code and so forth for when they do open. But as far as the opening of it, the Village Council of Minerva Park approved this building. We just need to account for the money coming in so it can be paid out, right?
It'd be the creation of a new fund.
Okay, I was gonna say, we need a new
I
account for
meant
this?
fund.
We would have to create a new fund because those dollars would be restricted for that.
Just to Minerva Park?
Yeah.
Or just to, Phantom Fireworks?
So we would create a new fund that we could do this for any development that comes in. We basically hold their money in escrow, and then we pay for the inspections, and anything that else that's needed until they get their license to be in operation. And then anything that's left, after all those inspections are done, would go back to the developer.
That makes sense. Do we need to amend this to say fund and not account?
Yeah, we can do that, absolutely, or should do that. That's my fault.
Okay, Mark, where are you proposing to
Right
change
here.
it, because it says
It's a
account?
fund. It should be a fund, not an account.
Fund, okay.
It's my fault.
Okay, then I will move to create a fund to retain commercial building permit fees for Phantom Fireworks located in Minerva Park and approved by Minerva Parks Village Council. Yeah, I read it. Approved by the Village Council of Minerva Park. is the way it's
Second.
worded. Okay. Any discussion? But just to clarify, Minerva Park passed this, we had no say in it. This
We don't
is
do their
just-
zoning, they do their own zoning.
And Westerville has nothing to do with
I
that.
was just wanting,
Yeah.
to clarify, it's actually covered by the Columbus Division of Fire. Minerva Park contracts with them for their fire protection, so.
Okay. All right, well, call for the vote.
Heigl? Yes. Shineberry? Yes. Siamato?
Yes.
Thank you. One more thing that's not on the agenda, and I don't need any action, just to let you know. last year, the prior year I wasn't here, but last year we did not paint curb addresses in the township. And we had talked about doing it this year. And so I do have a quote that came in. I wasn't happy with it, so I went back and negotiating that quote as far as the price. Once I have that finalized and we agree upon that, I'll present it to you, and you guys can decide whether you want to move forward with that. And when we do that, then Joanne we'll do a supplement appropriation to appropriate the money for that expenditure. But it is something I know all three trustees wanted to consider doing this year since we didn't do it last year. It's 2,211 addresses. So we would do the whole, Butte Ridge, Sunbury Woods, Sandy Mark, Cleveland Heights, anywhere that's got curbs with addresses will be done. So I just want to let you know, probably by the next meeting, I'll have a supplemental appropriation request, a purchase order request, and a purchase request, and you guys can decide whether you want to do it or not. Okay?
All right, thanks for doing that.
That's all I have. Unless you have anything for me?
Going on to maintenance and building and grounds, parks and cemetery, Mr. Newman.
Yeah, I'm just requesting purchase order to purchase 350 ton of road salt. We're getting kind of low, and this will fulfill our obligation with Cargill for the 500 ton that we requested, bringing it a total of $21,472.50. And this money has been set aside through the road fund for that.
Okay. I will move to approve the purchase of 355 tons of road salt at $61.35 per ton for a total of $21,472.50 from Cargill as part of the SWOP 4G purchase agreement, which is coming from the roads.
Can you amend that and say 350 tons? You said 355. You read it as 355.
350 tons of
Yes.
road salt. Okay, let me start over. I move to approve the purchase of 350 tons of road salt at $61.35 per ton for a total of $21,472.50 from Cargill as part of the SWOP 4G purchase agreement.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just wanted to make sure that they knew, because we had a short discussion before the meeting started, that we were obligated up to 500 tons. So we didn't use all that, and they're gonna store the balance for us if we don't need it.
Correct.
So we have to purchase it,
Yes.
but I'm sure we'll use it if not this year.
And we'll also have an opportunity to purchase over that 500 if for some reason we need it to fill the bins going into next year, as long as we do it before the July and the contract ends at the 61, because it's going up next year. They've already
Mhm.
told
Yeah,
us.
that's another
Prices
thing,
will
at
be
least.
going up because
So we'll make sure the bins are
milestone with
filled.
that, so.
I just have one question. Do we need to add that it's coming from the road fund, or no? That doesn't need to be.
That's already appropriated.
Okay.
If we
Okay.
needed a supplemental, we would identify where that supplemental was coming from, but it was part of the original appropriations that
Okay.
you all approved.
All right, call for the vote.
Heigl?
Yes.
Shinaberry?
Yes.
Yamaco?
Yes.
Going on to, did you have anything else, Matt?
That's all.
Okay, going on to the police department, Chief Belford.
Nothing to report this evening.
Okay. Fire department, Chief
Uh,
Miller.
Yeah, just passing on, in the next few weeks, we'll be doing some training in the old Ralph Shadow at Paris and Westerville Road. So you'll see some fire trucks, maybe not just Westerville and Blendon, but some outside agencies too. So just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. We will try to have some training signs up. But see a lot of fire trucks down there. It's not an emergency, we're just doing some training, so.